Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Batman Returns had been more kid-friendly? Tim Burton probably wouldn't have been booted off the franchise. Therefore, Joel Schumacher wouldn't have come along to direct Batman Forever, which wouldn't have ended up being a commercial success. And in turn, the studios wouldn't have demanded an immediate sequel just for the sake of selling toys, which we now know as Batman and Robin. And if Batman and Robin hadn't existed, then Batman probably would have remained a fairly successful superhero series, and we probably wouldn't have gotten the successful trilogy directed by Christopher Nolan, which we now know as the Dark Knight trilogy. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Joel Schumacher. Thank you for ruining Batman. Hello, I'm TMN, and welcome to this week's movie review. Well, we're finally done with the Godfather trilogy. Yeah, I know. Based on my past 3 reviews, you've probably decided to give up on me as a reviewer at this point, considering that if I don't think a film like The Godfather is that riveting, then my opinion probably doesn't matter for any other movie that I review. But nevertheless, today we are going to be reviewing Batman Begins.
But Matthew, isn't The Dark Knight the next film on the top 250?
Why yes, random stranger who manifested from thin air, yes it is. However, similar to the Godfather trilogy, I figured, why review the films out of order when I could just review the Dark Knight trilogy in its proper order? So while Batman Begins may be number
116
on the top 250, and The Dark Knight Rises may be number
65
on the top 250, I'm still going to review them in the order that they came. So for the next 3 weeks, get ready for me to talk about Batman, because this is the Dark Knight trilogy. We begin with Batman Begins, a film which tells the origins of Bruce Wayne as he trains with Ra's al Ghul to become the Dark Knight. But as he returns to Gotham after an extended hiatus, he discovers that crime is now higher than ever, and he must don the mask and become the Caped Crusader to stop a diabolical plan that uses microwaves to turn the water's supply into poisonous gas, which will freak out the entire city! The film also stars Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Liam Neeson, Katie Holmes, and a bunch of other really big names. Right off the bat, get it? Because it's Batman? Yeah, hilarious. Just get on with a freaking review. Okay. Well, I think we can all agree that this film saved Batman. Now, I was only 7 years old when this film came out. Hi, how the time flies by. So I really have no idea if this film received any negative backlash pre-release, from fans who were probably worried that this film would just be as bad as Batman and Robin. But thankfully for all of us who were worried, this film paid off greatly. It was a box office success, shed new light on the origins of Batman, and paved the way for one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, or as the general opinion goes. Now, I feel like in my past reviews, all I do is talk about how the writing is good, the acting is good, the music is good, and that's about it. I have been trying to figure out how to make my reviews more entertaining, but I'm still working on it, so if this review is mediocre, bear with me. Now, this review may contain possible spoilers, so if you have not seen the movie, then either stop watching this review now, or keep watching it and just don't care. Now, Batman Begins is a very enjoyable movie. It's got a great soundtrack by Hans Zimmer. As memorable as Danny Elfman? Are you kidding me? The 1989 Batman theme is the best. Although I have to admit, Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard did still do a pretty good job. So what do I like about this movie? Well, the first hour or so is probably my favorite part overall. I like how we get to see Bruce Wayne's past unveiled piece by piece as he trains with Ra's al Ghul. I'm sorry, Liam Neeson. Come on, it's so obvious he's the villain. But it is nice to see him change from a man simply wanting revenge for his parents' murder to a man wanting overall justice for the crimes in Gotham. Batman's training by the League of Shadows does kind of remind me of some Akira Kurosawa films. With the whole samurai aspect, and all of the Confucius-type morals that Liam Neeson keeps throwing at Bruce Wayne. Rub your chest, your arms will take care of themselves. Tell me, Mr. Wayne, what do you fear? So yeah, I do love that aspect of the movie. Where the movie slows down and starts to become not as interesting to me is when he returns to Gotham as Batman. Now, the movie is still great, and I do enjoy these scenes. But doesn't it seem like sort of a coincidence that as soon as Bruce Wayne returns to Gotham, there just happens to be a villainous plan going on? Yeah, good timing, Batman. If you had come to Gotham any sooner, the entire population probably would have been crazy from the fear gas produced by the Scarecrow. That's the one problem with superhero movies. As soon as a superhero comes along, there's always a villain that comes along. Maybe if there's no superheroes, there wouldn't be any supervillains, and therefore the crimes would simply consist of robberies. But as the movie delves into movie number 2, which, let's be honest, it pretty much is, we're introduced to Jonathan Crane, known as the Scarecrow.
I am the embodiment of fear.
What was that? So the Scarecrow has this plan to use some microwave machine to turn Gotham's water supply into gas, which he is going to pollute with his scare toxin, therefore causing Gotham's citizens to go completely crazy and turn on themselves,
Thus destroying Gotham.
Bit of a strange plan. There's also some subplot in the movie involving a guy named Falcone, but honestly I don't really follow it that much. But anyways, Batman comes in and he's all like,
Where were the other drugs going?
and the guy he's interrogating is all like, I swear I never knew! And long story short, Batman's like,
Swear to me.
and then somehow Batman finds out about Scarecrow's plan. Oh, yeah, and Rachel, his childhood friend, gets poisoned somewhere along the way, but then she is okay, and yeah, but that's not important. But later on in the movie, we find out that Ra's al Ghul is actually the one behind Scarecrow's plan all along. Gasp! I never knew! And Batman has to take him down once and for all to save Gotham. You probably know where this is going, so I'll stop. So to start, what are some of the good aspects of this movie? Aside from whatever I've mentioned already. Well, I do like Batman's voice in this one. It's not quite as growly as it came to be in the later films, and it's probably my favorite version of it. I also really love Cillian Murphy's portrayal as Jonathan Crane. I mean, talk about great casting right there. Now, everyone in this movie does a phenomenal job with their performances, but overall, I think his character fit into the role the most. I also really like the comedic side of this film. This is a much more brooding and intense Batman film than the previous one we got. Little did we know the next one would be even worse. But aside from that, it does still find time to show its comedic edge, with many of the film's funniest lines being delivered by Michael Caine's character, Alfred Pennyworth. I also really love Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, and in case you're wondering, I do think Christian Bale makes a pretty good Batman. Now, the Batman suit in this one I don't like that much. It kind of makes him look fat for some reason. I definitely like the changes they made in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Although the one thing this film actually has going for it is that Batman actually uses bats in his crime fighting. It is kind of annoying how in the next two films he never really utilizes them. I mean, his character is called Batman. But I digress. Altogether, Batman Begins is a fun, enjoyable popcorn film. It stands as probably the second or third best in the Dark Knight trilogy, depending on your preference. And while I don't necessarily enjoy the second half of the film as much as the first, overall it's still a very fun experience, and I think you'll have a good time watching this film. Well guys, thanks for watching this week's review. Be sure to leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts on the movie. Leave a like on this video, share this video with your friends and family, remember to press that little bell icon so you can be notified whenever I post, and as always, subscribe. I'm TMN, and until next time.